Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be previewing the Washington Commanders Week 6 matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. Going to be doing some injury updates, keys to victory, and a score prediction. If you guys are new, subscribe, hit that like button, and that notification bell as well. It really does help out a ton. Alrighty, so this is a huge game for the Washington Commanders. They're on a 3-game losing streak, and these next couple games are winnable games for them. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons, which, they have a winning record, but they're not an amazing team. This is definitely a winnable game for them, and they play the Giants, who are struggling with injuries and just not a great football team in general, but they've had our number over the last few years. And you play the Eagles, you got the Patriots, you got the Giants, they've got some winnable games in the future, and Rivera always goes on this, win streak at some point in the season. So it's either going to start this week or next week. I really believe so, and we'll get into my score prediction at the end of the video. But absolutely huge game for the Commanders. Make sure you guys check out BetUS, link in the description. But yeah, let's get into the injury report. So for the Commanders, nothing major. Christian Holmes out. Efe Obada, who his 21-day window started, he is questionable. He practiced all week. I talked about this early on. They could do a thing where they want to ease him back into it, but I would just go ahead and play him, man. He practiced in full. He should be good to go. Play him on a snap count. He's a backup anyway. He's not going to be playing a lot of snaps. And then everyone else is good to go. Obviously, Derek Forrest and Jeremy Reeves were on, placed on IR. So big week for Quan Martin and Percy Butler. Christian Holmes, a little bit more of a loss than most people are going to think, just because they already lost Jeremy Reeves on special teams, and now Christian Holmes, those guys are probably their two best special teams players, besides obviously Tress Way. So, De'Ami Brown's probably going to play, and besides that, there might be some other guys. Maybe they'll play Percy Butler as well. And then the Falcons, all good to go. Bud Dupree, Caleb Gary, and Jonnu Smith, 3 pretty good players, all good to go for the Falcons. I don't know how, any of their players, if any of those guys are on IR, but looks pretty healthy to me for the Falcons, so that's good for them. But let's get into some keys to victory real quick. If you guys want to look at their roster a little bit, the Falcons, their star players, you got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, who they drafted in the first round last year, is solid. You got Kyle Pitts as well. Their offensive line is pretty good, and then on defense, AJ Terrell, Bud Dupree, Grady Jarrett, who's been a stud for a while. You got, Calais Campbell, Jesse Bates, who's coming over from, the Bengals. This is not a bad football team. This is not a bad football team at all. Let's get into, though, keys to victory. So, number one is you got to try to limit Bijan Robinson. I mean, he is their best player, probably overall on the team. He's their best player. You could argue a couple of different guys like Caleb and Gary, who's pretty good, but they drafted him, number 7, I think, for a reason. He's an elite running back. He's going to continue to get better. He's not only a good runner, he's a good receiver as well. Just an all-around great back, one of the best probably the best prospect since Saquon Barkley. He's had a good rookie year so far. They also got Tyler Algier. They also got Cordell Patterson. If you guys don't remember, a couple years ago, he absolutely demolished us. Had 3 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, I believe, in one game. That was awful. I think we still got the win, though. But, you're going to have to try to limit Bijan as much as possible. I don't know what you can do to really game plan against it. I mean, the linebackers on our team are not great, so that's something that might not be the best matchup for us. Bijan against our linebackers. So the D-line is really going to have to step up. And shout out Ref the District for this graphic. But D-line's going to have to step up against Bijan, because I don't think Cody Barnes is going to be making plays. I think Jamin could make some plays for sure. But yeah, that's definitely one key to victory. Try to limit Bijan as much as possible. Next one is try to involve Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson more. I like Logan Thomas, but he doesn't need to be getting 11 plus targets when Terry and Jahan combined didn't get 11 targets in the Bears game. Get the playmaker. Get the ball to your playmakers. Terry and Jahan need to get it more, especially Terry. You can find ways to scheme them open. Good offensive coordinators are able to do that. I think Bieniemy has a chance to be a good offensive coordinator, maybe head coach eventually. So I mean, he was already a good offensive coordinator in Kansas City, but I'm talking about with Washington. He's had some good games. He's had some not so good games. Let's get Terry and Jahan involved more, especially Terry McLaurin, because they just have not had a lot of production. I don't really think it's on them necessarily, because they had production last year, especially Terry, and they're just not getting targeted as much. And also, the targets they're getting are very short compared to years before. It's a lot of 5-6 yard stuff instead of like 11-12 yard stuff. So try to target him a little bit, a little bit deeper. And I think they have gotten some deep shots to him, and he's come down with a couple. He's also drawn some pass interference as well. Let's go to another key to victory. Got to run the ball more. This defense is good for the Falcons. Their D-line is solid against the run. They don't get a lot of sacks, but they're solid against the run. So you're going to still, though, have to run the ball a little bit. You can't go away from the run that quickly. I know this game, it was a little bit of a tough situation, but still, they didn't have a run after 8:49 remaining in the second quarter. They didn't have a run till the end of the game. And you can talk about, they're being blown out. Well, a lot of teams, are blown out and they still run the ball occasionally. I think you can't do that again. You got to run the ball sometimes. And, in this game, I don't think the game script will be as bad as the Bears, where they were down 27-3 at halftime. But still, don't go away from the run game. Also, don't try to get too fancy. They had Terry McLaurin in the backfield and they did a weird handoff to Brian Robinson. Sorry, they fusing the two B-Robs. But give the ball to Brian Robinson and just have him run right up the middle. Don't do these fancy stuff. Just give it to Robinson up the middle if you need 1 yard. And if he doesn't get it, do it again on fourth down. You don't need to be doing the Logan Thomas tush push or whatever. We don't necessarily have the personnel for it. Just give it to Brian Robinson, 4 yard. He'll be able to do it. And if you just ran it for 7 yards, run it again on second down. 2nd and 3, run it, or at least do a play action to switch things up a little bit. But yeah, try to, I'm not saying give Brian Robinson 20, 30 carries, but at least give him 10, probably more like 15 though. And just to, help the flow of the game a little bit more than they have been in the last few games. And then also, protect Sam Howell. This D-line is solid against the run. They've only had 5 sacks though through 5 games. That's 1 sack a game. The Bears, though, they had 2 sacks in 4 games. And guess what? I think they had 5 sacks against us last week. So it's on Sam Howell. It's on the offensive line. Both of them combined. They've got to both be better at that. So one thing with Sam, man, if he could just get rid of it a little bit quicker, that will go a long way. That'll go a long way because, again, some of these sacks are on the offensive line, but a lot of them are on Sam Howell as well. And, yeah, they've had 5 sacks on the year, so I would love, even if he's only sacked 3 times, I don't even think that's happened this year. It's been the Cardinals game might have been the lowest. After that, it's been 5 every week, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's been sacked 29 times in 5 games, basically averaging 6 sacks a game. That's absolutely ridiculous. It cannot happen. So 3 sacks is not great, but I'll take 3 sacks if he's only sacked 3 times. And then Desmond Ridder, I think I looked, he's been sacked 16 times through 5 games. So, a little over 3 a game. So let's try to get over 3. Let's, Chase Young, let's have a good game. He's been having good games. And then the interior defensive line, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, let's step up. Let's get some pressure. Jonathan Allen did have a sack, but let's get some more consistent pressure this game. And, be a force, take over this game, win this game for us. And those are kind of my keys to victory. Also, I think Cordell's going to be playing. I know he's injured early on. He is a monster as a kick returner. Do not kick to him. Just kick it out. We don't need to be worrying about this. And then, is he their punt returner as well? Is he their punt returner? I guess he's not their punt returner, but if he is, just you got to tackle him as soon as you can. Special teams has been a weakness this year for sure, and special teams has to be better. Joey Sly, even, Trust Way. He had 1 bad game, but, that was part of the reason we lost that Eagles game. And then, the return game needs to be a little bit better on both sides, kick return and punt return. And then also, our coverage has to be better as well, especially on punt team. It just overall has not been good for special teams this year. It's been one of the worst units in football. So it's been part of the reason we've lost a couple of these games. Definitely not the Bills game and the Bears game. We lost for other reasons and we were being blown out. But the Eagles game in particular is a game we could have won if we had better special teams. But let's get into the score prediction for this game. I'm going to be optimistic. And I know it's hard to be optimistic after that bad performance against the Bears. I will go 24-20 Washington Commanders. Might change tomorrow. I still think I'm going to have a win. There are guys, again, the secondary has been bad. Quan Martin's going to be are playing, and you got Derek Force out, Jeremy Reeves out, so it's going to be tough. But they don't have any playmakers that really scare me as receivers. Drake London's not going to beat you with speed. I mean, he's not slow, but he's not quick, like super quick. But, could be some bad matchups there. And Kyle Pitts is a dog too, but they haven't been involving him. I think their leading receiver is Jonnu Smith. So they've got some solid guys. Like, again, Jonnu's solid, Drake London's solid, and then Kyle Pitts is solid. But no, like, speed guy that's going to beat you over the top really, really quick, which has been happening the last couple weeks. I mean, even A.J. Brown, like, he's big, but he's also quick. Like, he's a 4.4 guy or lower, maybe 4.3 guy. So, the receivers that you got to worry about, Drake London, Kyle Pitts is a receiver / tight end, and Jonnu Smith. And besides that, you should be fine. But the secondary has been really bad the last few weeks. So, I mean, this whole season, really. So, I'm not trusting them to cover these receivers. But I think the Falcons will be relying on their run game. And Desmond Ridder, I don't think he's all that. He's not awful, but he's not. I really don't think he's that good. Like, we'll go ahead and look at his stats on the year. And one thing, he is undefeated at home in college and the NFL. You look at his stats: 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Just his completion percentage is pretty good, 65. I just don't think he's that amazing. He had his best game of the season by far against the Texans, 330 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. I think we can rattle him. We got to rattle him. Secondary's got to play better. The D-line's got to play better. Really, everyone on the defense has to play better. I think we should be able to get this win against the Atlanta Falcons, 24-20, and improve to 3-3 on the year. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.